Hello, hello. Welcome to What's Working Now. I am Katie Richardson, your host, here with one of the most exceptional entrepreneurs on the planet. We're with the awesome and the amazing Sharon Lechter. Sharon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Katie. I'm absolutely delighted to be with you.
Well, I'm delighted to be with you. You are honestly somebody who I have admired from afar, and I've shared that story with you. You're an incredible entrepreneur who knows so much about business and finance, and specifically, you have written many, many books and been on so many exceptional stages. And before we dive into all of that and your wisdom with all of those things, I would love to hear the story of a moment that has really defined who you are today.
Well, thank you, Katie. And of course, I've been around a long time, so I have a lot of those moments, but I'll pick one. When I went to college, I wanted to become a professional because I'd grown up in a very entrepreneurial home. And I thought I didn't want to be an entrepreneur. And so I started my career as an accountant and was very successful with a very large accounting firm in Atlanta, Georgia, young, single CPA. It was fantastic. But about the ripe old age of 25, I realized I was not in control of my life. I was working incredibly long hours. I'm sure a few people listening and watching right now can relate to that. And I had an opportunity with one of my clients to leave public accounting and start my own entrepreneurial journey. And I remember going back to my condo, and I did the old, back then there were no PCs, no cell phones. So it's the old yellow legal pad, pros and cons. And it didn't help me a bit because I could argue both sides. I was doing very well as a CPA, but the opportunity knocks as an entrepreneur. But my hand took off and wrote across the top of the page, why not? Why not do something different? Why not take control of my life? Why not take that path less traveled? And that why not has become one of my mantras and one of my philosophies in life is why not do something different? Why not listen to the call of a need or a problem and take that path less traveled? So why not is kind of my mantra these days. I live by it all the time.
Sharon, I love this story. And I just have chills when you talked about asking that new question. I think oftentimes we can get kind of stuck in the binaries of things, right? You were doing the pros and the cons. And by asking that question, you moved into, well, what do I want, right? You moved into this new perspective. That's so good. I love that. It's so incredible. And you've got so many books. You are frequently on stages. I'm really curious to hear how you determine where you're going to spend your time, right? There's so many different things that you're really good at, and you could be spending your time doing a lot of different things. So how do you make that decision where you're going to actually focus your energy?
Well, Katie, I think that's such a pertinent question in the world today because when COVID hit, everything changed. And of course, I was on the road 75–80% of the time when COVID hit. And all of a sudden, there was a world of need and so much negativity in the world. And so I made the choice to say yes to everything, anything I could. So I was doing 6 to 7 events every day, from this chair. And so last year, in the middle of 2021, my team and I sat down and said, okay, so I've been like running myself ragged, not running, but literally just doing a lot. And we had to really kind of rein it in and really walk the talk, because it's what I teach people is understanding the value of your time. And we can make money, lose money, and get money back, but we don't get our time back. And so it's really important to focus on your time as it relates to every aspect of your life, your family, your fitness, your finances, your business, and have one big life, as I talk about in Thinking Rich for women. And so I had to take a step back and say, okay, I'm doing too much. And we needed to kind of retool what I was doing. And so it's a really pertinent question, the fact that we are now looking at, where I can do the greatest good and where I can support people in an arena that is receptive to my message, and people where I can challenge people to take that next step. And you have to go through that process. And sometimes you have to learn to say no so you can say yes to the right opportunity.
So good, Sharon. I think we can all fall into that trap of taking on too many things, but it's what I'm hearing you say is it's even part of the process, right? The environment had shifted. You started saying yes to all of these things. Then you started to realize, wow, I've got way too much on my plate. But because you had gotten to that place, then you, from a new perspective, could determine what you needed to say yes to and what you ultimately needed to start saying no to. So it's part of the process.
Yes, it is. And it's, and you redefine as you go through different stages in your career, you redefine what's really important to you. And I think, as we're looking, I'm busier than ever, but I'm also more focused. And I'm not doing, I was during the COVID thing, I was doing a lot of free speaking gigs because I wanted to support people through this incredible craziness we had. And so we're starting to, you have to realize if you give yourself away for free, some people don't value you. So you have to start going back to, okay, I only have so many hours I can dedicate to this. And so I have to stand in my own power and my own value and say, I can't do the free ones anymore. We have to do something that is rewarding as well as financially empowering. So
yeah, so good. I've met some of your team members, and I know you've probably got a lot of people in multiple areas of your businesses. What does the organization of that look like? And how many people are you interacting with on your team on a daily basis?
Well, we have multiple businesses that we own. So we have our ranch called Cherry Creek Lodge up in Young, Arizona. And I just got off the phone with that team. We have 8 full-time employees, and they run that from a standpoint, and lots of people that we bring in when we have large groups. So that's something that we manage from this office as well. And then we have, the financial education side of my business. I have 2 or 3 companies within that. And we have people that are, in essence, the point of responsibility for each company. And then they have the teams that they work with. So it's really, I talk about the importance of your team, the importance of the power of association. And so we have an incredible social media team that's outsourced, that we have a contract, but we have weekly meetings with them and know, where we are. We have measurables, we have benchmarks. And so that's something that you have to pay attention to when you are outsourcing, is what is the accountability? What does the communication chain look like? And so it's really important to really understand where you're going, not just where you are today, but where you're going and who's going to help you get there. Because that power of association is having people on your team who are strong where you are weak. Then also having the mentorship as to where you want to go. I have somebody that's, one of the Google partners who is a friend of mine, but I hired him to help me make the right decisions based on what he sees in the industry.
So good. When you are working on these different arms of your business and working with all of your different employees, and you've got so many different things going on, Sharon. How do you balance your own personal needs, whether that's like even just things like food and exercise? What does that look like for you in a day? How much of your day is spent working versus leisure and fun and that sort of thing?
Well, every day is different, but my husband and I are pretty guarded about our mornings because we get up and we exercise together. And this year we really focused on healthier eating and exercise. So we both lost close to 30 pounds. And that's something that we are just eager to maintain and continue eating healthy and continue. I'd love to lose another 20 pounds, but that's, for us, that consistent behavior is what has helped us get there. And it's important for people to understand that unless you make the time for something, it's not going to happen. And for me, I do a lot of time blocking. So in fact, I just secured 3 days in San Diego where I'm going to go dive into writing because I have some writing to do. And to try and do that when I'm in the midst of running these businesses, they don't support each other. So I have to literally cut myself off of society and dive into what I need to do for writing. And that's something that I'm dedicated to do that. But I know myself well enough that to really accomplish what I need to accomplish, I have to get completely away. And it always helps to have the kind of view that you have out your window to write. The ocean is food for my soul. So I love it.
That's so good. You're going into this almost like a cocoon where the only thing you have to do is to write.
Oh, it's
And it,
exactly, that is exactly what it is. It
yeah,
is a cocoon. There are
yeah,
days when I don't even get out of my nightgown because I'm 100% focused on writing from early in the morning to late at night. So
so good. You know, you have been an entrepreneur for so many years and have watched as different trends and markets rise and fall. And so I've watched as you've, you know, shifted and pivoted your messages all on the same principles of truth. And you know, the last couple of years we've had this big disruption with the pandemic and COVID, and I've watched as you have really supported and helped so many entrepreneurs who are experiencing the wake of the pandemic and needing to make changes in their career and their business. Share with us some of the resources that you have put together to help and support entrepreneurs during this time.
sure, sure. Well, when the pandemic first hit, we were just besieged by negativity everywhere we saw. I mean, I had to actually turn off the news because it was driving me nuts. And I could feel the tenseness inside me, the negativity impacting my mental state. And I said, well, if it's impacting me this way, it's got to be impacting everybody. And we need to find some positivity in the world. Well, when I get frustrated and mad about something, that's usually when I do something about it. And so at the beginning of the pandemic, I launched something called daily ATMs as a, play on having a bank deposit for ATM. But this daily ATM it stands for abundance, tips, and mentorship. And it's a daily message where I tell people something that gets a little bit of a giddy up in their step, or tells them, something that they can do to feel good about themselves, to take the next step. And I always, every single message ends with me saying, you are fabulous. Say it with me. I am fabulous. Because we have to start here. We cannot rely on our own happiness from other people. Happiness comes from inside. And if we allow that negativity to come into us, we're hurting ourselves, we're hurting our future, we're hurting our family. So we have to put this, I call the cone of protection on, and find happiness within. And yes, sometimes we have to make adjustments, but I just love doing it. And so as we're well into our third year of ATMs, and in fact, this morning I just recorded another 7 of them, because it's where I find something that inspires me. Okay, write it down so I can share it. And that's, I love doing it. We've had incredible response to it. And it's very inexpensive. It's like $8.88 a month, or $88 for the year. And it's something that just thinking of doing something for yourself, and having somebody like me, an old lady that's got a lot of experience, whispering in your ear, you are fabulous. It's kind of like that maternal message that helps you just feel good about yourself and feel good about focusing on the day. So yeah, you can go to atm.sharonlechter.com for more information.
There's so much wisdom in what you just shared with us, because the environment was changing, and instead of being reactive to it, you noticed how you were feeling and asked that question, like, surely if I'm feeling this way, surely other people are feeling this way. And then you moved into action, right? And you took what you were wanting and needing, and you made it this really productive thing that, yes, it generates income in your business, and it probably generates leads, and it helps people to like, know, and trust you, and all of those things. But what I was hearing from you was like, you had a problem that you were trying to solve personally. And it even sounds like this message, right? You had a message that you were wanting to share with people in a way, and you made a decision on how to package that message up in a way that it became easy for somebody to take on and consumable. I just want to make sure everybody sees that piece of what you just shared with us, because I think that's so smart and so brilliant. And it has you taking action in a way that it utilizes your gifts and your talents, and even sounds like is fulfilling for you. Like, it energizes you is what I was seeing.
Well, just in doing it, I'm saying to myself, all right, something positive, and saying, you are fabulous. I am fabulous. Yes, you are. And so just by doing that every single day, by providing positivity for others, you build positivity in yourself. And you know, the price of it really basically covers the cost of organizing and maintaining it, because you can get it through an email or through a text message. And this is an audio file that just, I have such great response from people. I see people at events and they come up and they go, I am fabulous. You know, my four-year-old granddaughter says, I am fabulous. Oh my gosh, it just touches my heart. So
Yeah. And it sounds like it's your signature, right?
yeah.
It's the Sharon message.
Yep.
So good.
Why not? I am fabulous. Both of them are pretty much glued to me. So
Well, one of the things that I really feel like you helped me become aware of as a young entrepreneur was the power of a powerful mindset, and how important it is to not just take specific actions to build your business, but to be aware of the questions that you're asking and the frame that you're putting around things and the way that you're looking at it. I'm curious how you became aware of mindset and the power of asking better questions.
good question. I think I grew up in a household where I was told I could be and do anything I wanted to. And if I just rolled up my sleeves and worked hard for it. But through life, you know, you learn the power of your thoughts, the power of your words, and the power of your actions. But it starts with action. So you get positive feedback or negative, and you have to adjust your behavior. And then you realize the power of your words can often cause those actions to happen. And then, but the true gift is when you realize that your actions are really tied to your words, but both are tied to your thoughts. And so when you can go back and think, you know, where are my thoughts coming from? Did I grow up in a mindset of scarcity? Because when you do, that impacts everything in your life, because you grow up with the comments like money doesn't grow on trees, pinch your pennies, save for a rainy day. So you grow up in an environment where money negative, money negative, money negative as a kid. No wonder you develop a mindset of scarcity. We're not teaching our kids about money in school. And so once you recognize that, you can actually kind of be humorous about it, but start releasing it and realize we live in a world of abundance, and change that mindset from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance. On the same vein, do you grow up in an environment where you see everything wrong in a picture, or you're told everything wrong? So you're built in this mindset of fear. Yeah. Right. And Outwitting the Devil is a book that I was able to bring out to the world that was hidden away for 73 years, originally written by Napoleon Hill, about how fear cripples us. And I see it so much in today's society, which is why I did the ATMs. And I want people to learn how to convert that fear into energy, and that energy into faith. Because when you live your life with faith, your eyes are wide open. You know, there's that phrase, take a leap of faith. I go, no, let's change that wording. All right, leap with faith. Because when you take a leap of faith, you got your eyes closed and your fingers crossed and you hope it turns out. No, I want you to jump with your eyes wide open with confidence that you will succeed. So that's taking a leap with faith. And amazing how you change from a world of fear, where you want to get smaller, you want to hide in a dark room, to living in faith, where you are looking at, the blinders are off and you're seeing opportunities every single day.
Such a powerful distinction. So good. I've never heard that. I love it. Sharon, I've never heard you tell any sort of a story about when you first started understanding the power of coaching and hiring a coach and bringing on mentors. What did that look like for you? Because clearly you're a woman who is invested in herself and who understands growth and progress. So how did you understand to even make that move?
Well, I think I had a father who was a huge part of my life and a mentor to me. And, he would be patient enough when I asked why to explain it. And then I remember my fourth grade math teacher invested in me and counseled me. And then my eighth grade English teacher told me I'd be a famous writer one day. I was all about math. I thought she was crazy. And then my house mother, in college told me I'd be on stage performing. I thought she was absolutely crazy. And yet I was taught to respect my elders and to listen. And so I've always learned and supported and sought wisdom from people. When I don't know something, I find someone who does. And your mentors can be dead, like Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie. I just soaked up the information I needed to succeed. And then I always sought somebody that could, I know the power of mentorship, because when you know the right people, you learn from them, but they also open doors for you. And so I've always sought mentorship in areas and arenas that I'm entering to make sure that I learn what I need to learn, but also that I make connections and learn. That power of association is what I teach in my personal success equation. You have your passion and your talent, and that's all about you. Your passion is, what do you care about? What's your why? For me, it was anger that we weren't teaching kids about money in school. My talent was many, many years as a CPA and many years in publishing. And so I could stop there, and most of us do, because we think we have to do it on our own. But true success comes from having both that passion and talent and the skill set, but then times a power of association, having the right people on your team, having people on your team who are strong where you're weak, having that mentor is going to help guide you along the way. And then times a taking action. How many times do we self-sabotage? We know what we're supposed to do, but we just don't do it. And then plus F, faith, having that faith in yourself. And I use this formula, the personal success formula, with everybody I work with and in every talk I give, because it's the essence of how I can start working with someone. And it's usually the power of association and faith, that confidence, that need the most work. And they go hand in hand. When you have the right people around you, you'll feel better about yourself, because when you have a bad day, they won't let you stay there. They'll elevate you. And but when you have the right associations and you have the right confidence, the actions come easy.
Is that a big part of why you have been a speaker for so many years? Like, is that one of the ways that you have networked?
Well, I realized when I got into public accounting, what a gift I had in the household that I was raised, because I understood the power of assets. I understood the power of buying, building, creating assets, not just chasing money. And I realized that the vast majority, 99% of the world is taught to exchange time for money, employee, self-employed, right? I work an hour, I get paid an hour. And I learned from a very young age, you want to work hard, but I want to work hard in buying, building, creating assets, and those assets generate income. And so I realized what a gift I'd been given, and the vast majority of people didn't understand it. And I take it on as a personal responsibility that I want to help people understand how to take what they already know and create those income producing assets and invest. It's not what you do for your paycheck that determines your future, is what you do with your paycheck. Whether you are an hourly employee and making $20,000 a year or making $2 million a year, your level of success is what you're doing with that money. Not what you're doing for it, but what you're doing with it when it comes into your hand. Every dollar that hits your hand, you are making a choice. Am I going to let it go away? Or am I going to turn this dollar and invest it in something that can work for me? And that's my passion. That's my drive. Everything I do, I've been dedicated to that since my oldest son went off to college and got in a credit card debt, and realized how vastly important it is for people to understand how to take care of themselves, is to build that financial basis of assets.
So good. So good. What are some assets that you're really excited about right now, today?
Well, a lot of personal financial planners talk about diversification of assets, which when they talk about it, they talk about between paper assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. I talk about the diversification of assets between asset categories, which include paper assets, stocks, bonds, mutual fund, now cryptocurrency, and real estate, understanding investment real estate where your tenants are paying for it and you've got that ability, and businesses and intellectual property, which is what you know, and taking it and making it a tangible form. All of those together give you the true diversification, because when one goes down, the others stay up. And it's really important to understand what asset class you want to really get good at it, and then say, okay, what's next? And certainly when we're looking at inflation that we are right now, real estate, people always need somewhere to live. So that's why you're seeing tons of money flowing into multifamily housing. Industrial areas are doing strong, but yet commercial buildings, not so much. So you have to educate yourself as to what it is you want to invest in. And storage units still, doing very well, but prices are going up. But again, it's when you buy the property, the cash flow, you got to know the numbers, because the numbers tell a story.
Yeah. Sharon, you clearly have tremendous passion and drive for your message and the way that you can help and educate people. And I'm really curious to hear you describe what I refer to it as a North Star, the thing that you look forward to, that you stay focused on, that helps you power through the opposition, the frustration, the change in the environment. What are some of the elements or factors or things that you keep in view that motivate and drive you in these moments of difficulty or change?
Well, thank you, Katie, for that question, because I get a lot of people ask me, why are you still working? I've been financially free since I was 38, but that's not what drives me. It's not about the money, it's about the impact. And my Play Big movement is, being number one in your field, living your legacy, and creating maximum impact. It's a private Facebook group. And I launched that several years ago because I was always playing big my entire career. And 9 years ago, I lost my youngest son. And we're not supposed to outlive our kids. And it threw me into what I call my world of numb. Okay, living life in neutral, no ups, lots of downs. And I almost retired, got a lot of pushback from family and friends saying, what are you going to do? And I think I even heard my son in my ear say, Mom, get over it. There's more for you to do. And I realized that all of us, particularly the last couple of years, we've all had things that stopped us in our tracks. It could have been a death, it could have been a divorce, a financial setback, an illness, but you're still here, and you're still here for a reason. And whatever you've been through, you've survived, and you have now the opportunity, the experience, and I think the responsibility to help others going through it. And so it renewed my passion. And I launched the Play Big movement because I wanted to share what I was doing. And all those opportunities were there, but I wasn't seeing them because I was so down and living in grief. And when I made that decision to play big again, amazing things happened. And they were there all the time, but I wasn't open to them. And so I was highlighted in the Think and Grow Rich Legacy movie. I was highlighted in an episode of the World's Greatest Motivators television series. I have new books in play because I made myself open, and I realized that the more vulnerable I am, the safer I am for other people to come and share their stories with me. And as a result, I started my one-on-one mentoring, which has just been a total gift because, of course, I still have this huge hole in my heart for my son. But having these mentoring clients that I work with, not just in their businesses, but their whole life. And I keep a very limited number of clients each year, but it really helps fill part of that hole. And a lot of them call me Mama Lechter, but I love it because I step into their world to help them accelerate their growth, help them meet the right people, help build their businesses. And so I love my one-on-one mentoring clients. I didn't do it until after having lost my son because I was always about teaching people assets. All right. So one-on-one mentoring is me investing me So this is back to exchanging time for money, but it's well worth it because I love my clients and I love seeing them, but help them move from exchanging time for money to buying, building, creating assets for their future.
Wow. You know, if it was just about the money, you would not be doing the one-on-one mentoring. I'm sure they can't pay you actually what you're worth. And so whatever they're paying you, you're there because you believe in them and you want to be in that conversation, and being there has got to energize you and excite you. And like you said, it fills a hole for you. That's beautiful. So beautiful.
And the other piece of the answer of your question about what keeps me moving is I can have a down day and I'll come in and I'll have an email from somebody, or I'll have a text or an Instagram post. In fact, just today, I had somebody send me a picture of 3 Feet from Gold that their 9-year-old drew because they loved listening to the book with their parents. I mean, that's enough fuel for me for several weeks. And it's, you know, that kind of feedback that you know that you've touched somebody's heart. You know, my dad that I mentioned as my earliest mentor, every night would ask me, Sharon, have you added value to someone's life today? He's been gone 16 years, but I still ask myself that every night. Have I added value to someone's life today? And wouldn't the world be a better place if we all focused on adding value?
Wow. Incredible. Sharon, I am 41. I'll turn 42 this year. If you could go back in time and give advice to your 41, 42-year-old self, what would you share with her?
Well, I appreciate that question. And I will tell you what, I get asked that question quite often. And I say, I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for everything that I've experienced up to this point. And so I don't like to look back. I always like to look forward. Obviously, if I could reverse and not lose a child, I would do that. But for young people like yourself, I say, you know, you're perfect. You were designed to be you, not someone else. And we live in a world where there's way too much FOMO, fear of missing out, and fear of comparison, and jealousy and envy. And I go, no, you are perfect. You were designed exactly to be who you are, and find what is important to you and to put every aspect of energy into it, because time passes us by and we don't get it back. And so make the most of every moment in every aspect of your life. And, you know, I'm involved in a new company that I just love these guys. I've been a mentor of theirs for 7 years, where it really talks about setting goals in every aspect, in, you know, in your faith, in your family, your friends, finance, fitness, to be the whole person, to make sure you continue to reach for the stars, because you deserve it. You're fabulous.
Oh, so good. I really enjoyed this conversation. I have a few rapid fire questions for you here at the end.
Okay, sure.
What's something that you do consistently every day?
Every day I exercise every day. I hug my husband every day, and I reach out to at least one of my children or grandchildren.
So good. I see a stack of books behind you, and I'm sure there's probably more on your nightstand. What's a book that you find yourself revisiting frequently?
Well, Think and Grow Rich, I read when I was 19. I still go back and refer to that. I think it's really important. There's also a book called The Ultimate Gift that I just love, by my friend Jim Stovall. And it talks about, it's a parable, and it's something that I cherish, and I recommend it to everybody. So good.
What is some great advice that somebody has given you and has helped and served you in your life?
Well, gosh, there's so much. And that is, you know, I think that you can become and you can do anything you want to, if you just put forth the effort and reach for the stars. And that's, you know, I see so many people with limiting beliefs holding themselves back. Self-sabotage is huge. And I do self-sabotage all the time. I have to catch myself. And the other piece of advice that I was given was that you cannot change someone else, You can only change how you
Mhm.
react to them. And we live in a world where we want to be in control. I'm a control freak, and you want to change somebody. You can't. You can't change someone. You can only change how you react to them. And your life will be so much happier if you focus and understand that.
So good. So good. Sharon Lechter, this has been a dream of mine to talk to you, to absorb some of your wisdom, to hear the stories, to hear the perspective, to understand, focusing on assets, and to really learn from your wisdom and your experience. And specifically as a woman, I didn't have a lot of mentors when I became an entrepreneur. And it was rare to find someone like you in the world who was being a mother and just crushing it in the world. And like you're just describing right now, living your dream. I mean, it's rare to find somebody like that. So I really appreciate you being who you are, sharing your insights and wisdom, and doing it in such a purposeful way that personally means a lot to me. So thank you so much for being on the show. And for people who want to connect with you or get that offer that you described earlier, share with us again how we can connect with you and how we can participate in your daily
Well, I'll give you
ATMs.
a couple of ways. You can actually email me info@Sharon Lechter if you have specific requests. My
Wow.
website, SharonLechter.com, has information about my mentoring programs. But and the ATM is atm.SharonLechter.com. Then I mentioned the personal success equation. I have a gift, a free download. If you go to personalsuccessequation.com, you can download that, and it will help you go on a journey through your own success and see areas where you might be able to improve it. But at the end of the day, don't get confused by all of those. Just reach out, info@Sharon Lechter, because we're here to support you and serve you. And thank you so much, Katie. It's been a pleasure.
Sharon, thank you so much. And for everybody who's listening, this is what's working now.